Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in our quaint little studio. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, freshly back from Arizona, joined in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
I'm giving it all she's got.
Oh, that's right. We got some technical challenges going on over there that Jonathan's holding together like Scotty. Writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett is here.
John, Criterion just announced Eyes Wide Shut coming out in 4K in November.
I know you're going to run out by that.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I won't buy it, but I will watch the movie again to commemorate it.
It's the international version with all of the.
Does that mean more filthy?
Yes.
Okay, even
and they
more
bring in the
filthy.
filth. Bring in the filth.
And of course, most importantly, guys, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. And then in the second part of the show, well, that's when we take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or an issue you'd like us to discuss, as long as we deem it appropriate to be discussed on the show, we do reserve the right not to address anything we think is inappropriate. Go ahead and fire it on into our tip link at www.streamelements.com/JohnCampea/tip. And here's the good news about that tip link. It's actually good and works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So even if you're listening to our show a little bit later, say on a podcast feed like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or if you're watching the show a little bit later in the day, you can still send in a question. And if you send one in when we're not live, well, we'll just get around to answering it on the next episode. All right, listen, I got a couple announcements I want to make here. First of all, I want to give a big thank you to everybody who showed up to our Phoenix Goodyear movie meetup that we did this past week. You know, I told you guys I expected 2, 3, 4 people to show up, which would be great. But instead we had this. And I don't even think that was everybody. That's just the amount of people we could get to stick around and take a picture outside of the theater. It was so much fun. We had such a good time. I couldn't believe the turnout that we had for it. And everybody was so nice and gracious. And by the way, brought gifts, which, by the way, for future meetups, nobody needs to bring me a gift, just so you know.
Jameson.
I don't.
And then he'll pass that on to us.
Just
Right,
a
I'll
thought.
pass it on to him. So I want to show you just a couple of things. People there obviously knew that I really like Superman. So let's bring it back to my shot here, Jonathan.
Okay.
So one of our viewers brought us this, which I absolutely love this hat. Also, one of our viewers heard me say that I'm really looking forward to the new Shrek. So they went and got me this.
No way.
Which, you know what? We should find a way to get this to Taylor. I think Taylor would
That's a
appreciate
McFarlane
You would-
Shrek too.
Yeah.
That's a good Shrek.
This
You'd
is
make Taylor's year. You
Yeah,
gotta-
I think what we'll do is we'll figure out a way to pass this on to
There you
Taylor.
go. That's a really great Shrek.
It's a
figure.
really good Shrek,
Wow.
and I think Taylor would get a kick out of that. But probably my favorite, and there were other things as well, a lot of pops, some T-shirts. I think one of my favorite things though was one of our viewers came and had this cup made.
Yeah.
And you can see it's got the John Campea Show logo on it, but they have movie meetup written on it, and they even had a picture of the theater put on it.
Harkins.
And then they handed it around to a bunch of the people who came and got them to autograph it for me, which I thought was just amazing. And you know, I immediately took a picture of this and sent it to Anne
It's pretty dope. Dude.
when I got it. And I just loved it. So I had a great time with everybody out at the Phoenix movie meetup. But we have more movie meetups coming. So let's take a look at this upcoming schedule. First of all, this Friday, we're going to be in San Diego at the AMC Mission Valley 20 for the 6:40 p.m. show of their 20th anniversary screening of The 40-Year-Old Virgin, which is, of course, my all-time favorite comedy. Now, again, the way, if you want to come to this, you go buy a movie ticket. So go to AMC's. I will let you know that I think there were like 5 tickets left for this screening, like, period. It's so funny, Rob, because they have a 7:40 screening. They've only sold 1 ticket to it. But for our for our movie meetup, they have like 5 tickets left. So if you're in the San Diego area and want to come, there are like 5 tickets left.
Yeah.
But then after that, the next stretch of the movie meetups are Thursday, September the 11th in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The next night, Friday, September 12th, we're going to be in Denver, Colorado. The next night, Saturday, September 13th, we're going to be in Salt Lake City, Utah. And then on Sunday, September 14th, we're going to be doing a movie meetup in Las Vegas. So now we haven't nailed down which movie theater, which movie, and which time in those things yet, but those will be the days, and they'll all be in the evenings. So the evening of Thursday, September the 11th, Friday, September the 12th, Saturday, September the 13th, Sunday, September the 14th in Albuquerque, Denver, Salt Lake City, and Las Vegas. So if you're a John Campea Show watcher and you live in any of those areas, just you can mark that down in your calendar. We hope you'll come out and join us. And the way these movie meetups work is that I just buy a ticket and come to the movie with all you guys. And then afterwards, I'll spend about 30 to 45 minutes hanging out in the movie theater lobby or out front of the movie theater, just hanging out and chatting and talking about movies with you guys. So I look forward to seeing all of you guys there. All right. One more thing to announce.
Ooh.
It was shot and released all the way back in 2016, 17. I can't even remember now. But my documentary, Movie Trailers, A Love Story, that Jonathan Voico worked on, Robert Meyer Burnett.
2020, dude.
Was it 2020?
Yeah.
What was
Oh, yeah, it was 2020.
We were in COVID.
We hit COVID.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of something else in 2016. So it was in 2020, not that long ago, that we made Movie Trailers, A Love Story, which you can see here. And we are going to be doing our YouTube virtual premiere this Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Los Angeles time. So it will be doing a YouTube premiere at 6 p.m. Los Angeles time. I will be in the live chat chatting with everybody. I know Jonathan Voico, who is the editor on the project, is going to be in there chatting with people. Rob, if you got some free time, you should jump in the live chat there too.
One more time. When is it?
It is this Wednesday. So 2 days from now. At 6 p.m. Los Angeles time. Just make sure you come to the John Campea channel. The event is already posted, so you can go, leave comments there already. We hope to see you guys there. We'll be in the live chat, chatting away with you guys as the movie is playing, and we hope that you enjoy it and learn a little something about the world of movie trailers.
I just reached out for the stream deck that's not there. My hand hit the void. I'm like, oh.
Jonathan's master setup is in disarray because he took his 2 big stream decks home and he forgot to bring them back to the studio. So he's doing the 60 buttons worth of stream decks on one small 15 button stream deck. So he'll make it work though.
Yeah.
He'll make it work. All right, guys, with all that down and out of the way, let's get things started, shall we? And we're going to start off with a sad one. News came out, I believe it was yesterday, that legendary actor, Terence Stamp, who in pop culture, probably best known, obviously, for Kneel Before Zod, Zod in Superman 2, Chancellor Valorum in the Star Wars prequels, but just literally for decades and decades and decades, a literal iconic thing. Billy Budd was where, a lot of people. What was the one he did? Queen of the Desert.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, where he played a drag queen and stuff like that. And I mean, he just did everything and was everything to everybody. He passed away, and one of the absolute most iconic voices in the history of Hollywood. By the way, correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't look at. Was he not the voice of Jor-El in Smallville? I think he was.
He probably was.
I think he was the disembodied voice of Jor-El in Smallville. I think he was at any rate. Somebody in the live chat. Oh, people in the live chat are saying yes, he was.
Okay.
But one of my favorite stories. I remember I heard this story that he told about how at one point he moved to India because people were putting out casting calls for a young Terence Stamp. And he was in his early 30s. So he got really kind of dismayed by all that and thought maybe his career was over. And he moved to India, and he tells a story, Rob. I watched the interview with him when he was doing it. He tells a story about how he got a telegram from his agent basically telling him they want him for this Superman movie, but then in all caps, you will be having scenes with Marlon Brando. And that got him to come back. And then the next leg of his career kind of went. So anyway, I mean, what a career, what a life well lived. But we've lost one of the legends. Terence Stamp dies at the age of 87. Rob, when you think of the incredible Terence Stamp, what are you going to think of the most?
Oh, I go all the way back to the 60s. He was in a pretty messed up movie called The Collector. And you'd imagine what he collects. And it ain't Hot Toys figures. And then he was in an early comic book movie, Modesty Blaze, which has a great theme song. But one of my favorite things that he was in is Wall Street. He played Larry Wildman.
Yep.
I'm going to break you, mate. I mean, he was going right up against Gordon Gekko.
I could buy and sell you. Like, oh
I mean, he was awesome in that. And then, of course, there's a movie called The Hit in the 80s another movie that he was in. But he was awesome in Soderbergh's. I mean, I think most modern film audiences remember him from The Limey.
Yeah.
He was the name's Wilson. He was so good in The Limey. I love that movie so much. And incredible. But he was, I mean, can you imagine? That guy was a very handsome dude.
Like people forget, like in his earlier career, he was the Leo DiCaprio Boy magazine cover. He was the heartthrob.
Man, if you were in swinging London and you were Terence Stamp
in the 1960s,
in the 60s,
life was good.
You were eating well. You were probably, yes, you were eating everything you wanted back then. Let me tell you, I love that guy. And, he had one of the great voices of all time.
He really did.
And if you see him when he's in The Limey.
And you know what? It just got better as he aged.
Totally.
His voice got more distinct, more refined, just more powerful.
And, he had one of those faces where it almost didn't look real. It was so angular. It was like somebody sculpted his face. Like God himself said, I'm going to step in here. I'm going to sculpt Terence Stamp's face. I mean, and when you saw it, he had this, even as Chancellor Valorum, which was not a very well-written part.
No.
I thought he was kind of squandered. But even in that, he looked like the leader of men.
He looked like the High Chancellor, Chancellor of the Republic.
He really did.
He really did.
I mean, he was, and Jar Jar Binks had him ousted from his job. Vote of no confidence for no Chancellor Valorum.
No confidence.
There's a lot to answer for.
Guys, question is for you. It's a sad day, but man, what a career, what a life, what contributions he made to our collective culture and society through his art. What do you guys think of when you think of Terence Stamp? What jumps out to you the most? What's maybe some hidden gems of his that maybe a lot of people don't talk about? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You guys may have heard HBO Max is working on a little Harry Potter series where instead of one movie per book, it's an entire season per book. One of the big things they've talked about is, of course, they're going to be able to go into a lot of things in the books that were never in any of the movies. Now, we already know that we've got our young cast. We know that we've got Nick Frost, which is like perfect casting for the new Hagrid. And they've already started shooting. So much so, I don't know if you got that image there, Jonathan, but like,
oh yeah,
this first image kind of came out of Nick Frost with our young Harry, and
Harry looks like they digitally like shrunk him in the
yeah,
shot.
it looks like a Lord of the Rings forced camera perspective,
Yeah.
Hobbit shrinking, but no, they just made Nick Frost look really
Exactly.
big. This kid looks adorable as Harry, but there's also video out there. So if we go back over here to my screen, you can see this. You see they're in London. It's set in the late 80s, early 90s, whatever. They got the cars of the right age. You can see Hagrid and Harry walking across the street through the bus stuff. There's another one, though, taken from inside of a window that's there. We can see Hagrid and Harry together. Somebody sneaking video footage from inside a window. But I mean, hey, it's a street. If you're in a place you're allowed to be in, you can shoot pictures on the street. That's fine.
I mean, it looks like they're just stealing these shots.
Yes.
Like they're out there and just, I mean, there's people obviously there, but that's,
Yeah.
wow.
So, Rob, the word I use a lot is the tangibilization.
Yes.
I didn't realize the cameras were rolling. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, but I believe we're in 2025. They're shooting now for this series. I don't believe season 1 drops until 2027.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
They are shooting stuff right now that is not going to air for a couple of years. Like, by the time this comes out, that kid is going to look different. Like, and he's at that age where his appearance will change rapidly. So we're going to look at this kid out the red carpet of the date premiere of season 1.
Yeah,
and then we're going to look at him in the show. We're going to think, how is this the same kid? It's going to be crazy.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, if they're going to make 10 episodes a season? So they're going to they'll probably be shooting those for close to a year. I mean, that's a long time.
They want to get a big head start.
Yeah.
And they said they're committed to none of this one season every 3 years bullshit. They're committed to one season per year.
Well,
so they want to get a head start.
They could shoot it that way. I mean, you think about it, you shoot for 8 or 9 months, then you take summer off, and then it'd be like school for real.
I'm excited about it. Anyway, Rob, you're taking a look at the video footage. What do you think about how Nick Frost looks there with
great.
the Harry?
I mean,
and where's your anticipation level like for this?
Well, look, I mean, to be honest, Harry Potter came out, the books came out. When I first read the book, it was the Philosopher's Stone, and I read the first Harry Potter novel. I liked it. It was one of those things. I always tried to keep up with popular books and everybody's writing about that. And I really liked it. I mean, I didn't read all the novels. It wasn't my thing because I was older. But obviously Harry Potter is a phenomenon that a whole generation grew up with. And I think Harry Potter is one of those properties that's been woven into the fabric of our time. It's never going to go away. And I think it's going to be like Star Wars has become a rite of passage for young people the world over. I mean, when you're a kid, Star Wars is something you're going to, and so I think is Harry Potter. It's going to be it'll be a timeless thing that I think people are going to be experiencing forever. So look, I know a lot of people object or they're like, well, how can you do a series? But, movies are only a 2 hour, 2.5 hour. I think a Harry Potter series is going to provide a very different experience than the movies will.
I agree.
And I think that alone makes them worth doing. And it's going to be, can you imagine? I mean, we're getting a Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon quality Harry Potter show. And we'll be able to have those interpersonal relationships that they couldn't go into. The secondary characters will be more well drawn because you'll have time to
Which just gives more depth to the world as a whole when you can do that.
100%. And I think I'm sure it's going to be great because they need it to be great. They're not.
Oh yeah, they do.
They're not wasting any time, or I think it's great. I think it's going to be cool, and I think a whole generation of kids. There's a whole generation of kids that aren't born yet that are going to experience. This is going to be their Harry Potter. So I hope it's better than modern Star Trek.
Even
there. Scott Mance likes the new Strange New World.
Wrong.
You got to get on board with that.
Not anymore. Not after this season.
I got to tell you. Oh, you didn't see his post about the newest episode, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Anyway, look. Here's the thing. I understand the apprehension. First of all, I think most Harry Potter fans are very excited about this. But I understand the apprehension of Harry Potter fans about like remaking these because it's like you can't possibly make them better than the books or better than the original movies. Number one, I would say wrong. You can make them better. It's unlikely, but you can make them better. But more importantly, I would say, does it need to be better than the movies? I contend no. I contend that if you make something that's really worth watching and can have new elements to it that the movies, it was just not possible for the movies to have because they are 1, 2 to 3 hour experience as opposed to the 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hour things each of these seasons can have. But I also go back, Rob, to my main argument about all remakes, which is if the remake is good, which this is HBO Max, guys.
Yeah.
You have no reason to believe it's not. Like maybe it won't be, but you have no reason to believe it won't be. It's HBO Max. But if it is good, then we've got another good piece of media we get to watch and enjoy.
Yeah.
And if it's bad, oh well, we still have the original movies. There's literally no drawback. Anyway, I don't know.
I have a question for you. So in 1987, when they debuted Star Trek The Next Generation, they utilized the theme Jerry Goldsmith's theme from Star Trek The Motion Picture as the theme. Will they use John Williams' Harry Potter theme for this new show?
You know what? A viewer asked me that same question about 2 weeks ago, and it's a great question.
Because I've been thinking, this has been vexing me.
Yeah.
I'm terribly vexed.
So here's my thought. With Superman, I believed each new Superman should have their own theme.
Yeah.
Right? Henry Cavill.
Hans Zimmer killed it.
Killed it.
That score, his Superman theme is amazing.
What are you going to do when you're not saving the world is one of my favorite pieces of music from any movie ever. And of course, John Williams' Superman score is one of the most iconic pieces of music in the history of the planet. So I kind of felt that way there. But for Harry Potter, that music is now so ingrained. Because, there was other Supermen on the screen prior to John Williams' Superman, prior to Christopher Reeve. So, but there had never been a Harry Potter on screen before the Warner Brothers Harry Potter movies. And I believe that music, bum, 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 is so ingrained in the DNA of Harry Potter. Look, you can even go play one of the games. You go play Legend of Hogwarts, right? Is that what it's called? Or something of Hogwarts? That music is in there.
In there. It's at the park.
I just think, it's all through the park. It is such a fundamental part of the DNA as much as Harry holding a wand is. Like, as much as Harry holding a wand is a part of, I think that music is. And so my belief is that they're going to keep that music. They're going to have a bunch of original music too.
Sure.
But much like how when House of the Dragon came out, episode 1, no intro music. Episode 2, bum, 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 bum. And all of a sudden you're right back in Westeros, right? And I think they're going to do that for this series. I mean, look, it's not the end of the world if they don't, but I both think they should keep it, and I think they will keep it. What do you think?
I think they have to. But I'm fascinated by it. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen J.K. Rowling respond. Like, I'm curious when a creator writes something and it becomes iconic and then it gets turned into a movie. Like, an author doesn't write music. You don't write a theme song for your characters or your book. And when you have that, it's suddenly one medium becomes intertwined with another, which I love. That's one of the great things about creation. My friend Bill Hunt, who has a website called The Digital Bits, he's been writing a series of science fiction novels, and he hasn't released them yet. But I hooked him up with a composer, and the composer wrote, because he wants to do a book on tape. Kind of, you're talking about doing The Pride as a book on tape. So this composer wrote him a theme.
We don't call them books on tape anymore.
Pardon me,
audiobooks.
Audiobooks, audio dramas. Yes, I'm having done one.
I'm making one of them VHS movies.
But it was wild. He sent me this music, and I'm like, suddenly, because his books are great, and I'm listening to this piece of music that didn't previously exist, that's now intertwined with a book. And I felt that way. I don't know what J.K. Rowling thinks about that, but that's kind of a cool thing how one art form, literature, now has a piece of beautiful classical music written by one of the greatest movie soundtrack composers of all time, is now intertwined with a piece of literature.
Yeah.
I've always thought that's amazing. That's an amazing, and that doesn't always happen. There's been a lot of books that have been translated into movies, but they don't have theme songs.
Dude, I'll tell you what, if I'm walking through like a bookstore or something like that and I see a Harry Potter book, instantly that music pops in my head.
It pops in your head.
It's just a natural part of it, and that's why I think.
And from an existential standpoint, that's pretty. I mean, the only other book I can think about that does that, Jaws.
Yeah.
Jaws
that'll do it too.
You see Jaws, you can't not hear. And it's by the same guy.
Yep, same guy. I was going to say the other one for me is Jurassic Park.
You're right.
Also same guy.
Yeah, same guy.
So anyway, all right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Did you have a chance to see that footage and image of they're shooting the new Harry Potter series with Hagrid and Harry and all that kind of stuff? I mean, it's a real thing now. They're actually shooting this thing. Whatever you guys think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Last week we got to watch the first 2 episodes of the new Alien Earth as they dropped the new episodes, and I loved them. I thought they were fantastic. I really enjoyed them. I loved how they went more alien than aliens. They had great action. They had great violence and gore, but it was really more of a true sci-fi kind of a story about existential questions that man has asked himself since the dawn of time. I think it was great. Well, apparently we weren't the only ones that were looking forward to it, because according to the data that's now come out, CBR here is reporting that after just one day, Hulu's new 92% Rotten Tomatoes sci-fi masterpiece is already the #1 streaming show in the world. It came in at #1 in 32 of the most key demographic countries in the world. Obviously #1 in the US, both on the Disney Plus platform and on the Hulu platform, which are now just becoming one thing. And I got to tell you, Rob, I was very surprised to see this. Not because I don't think Alien Earth is great, because I do. I'm really excited about it. But given how, let's be honest, crappy the Alien franchise and series has been lately, Romulus notwithstanding, but not everybody saw Romulus, which I really liked Romulus a lot. I wasn't expecting that everybody was really looking forward to going and checking out this thing, but the trailers were good. They look creepy as hell. And I couldn't be happier for it to see it come out with such a strong start as this. I'm thrilled for it. Anyway, Rob, were you surprised by these numbers? And if so, what does it tell you, if anything?
Well, I think it proves once again that audiences really appreciate quality science fiction, fantasy, and horror material when it's presented in an intelligent, thoughtful way. And I think, when you have a creator like Noah Hawley, who's proven himself, I mean, obviously we've talked about Legion, we've talked about Fargo. He knows what's up, and he made a show that I think is really compelling, that honors the ideas behind the Alien franchise. And the idea of playing God, whether you're extending human life or whether you're going to manipulate alien life, whatever, is always fascinating. And he made this commenting on corporate America, the corporations have taken over the world, and what does that mean? And AI and tech bros and meddling. I mean, dude, I read a thing today that the Chinese have created a robot womb. Seriously, we're here. So we're the questions that Alien Earth is posing are usually literary questions that people that read a lot of science fiction encounter. I don't think we see them enough in popular media because people, it's hard to challenge people on these kinds of. That's what science fiction and fantasy does best. It's able to present compelling and difficult ideas that people could be very polarized over politically, but if you put them in a science fiction, fantasy, horror context, then and then you'll be able to have a conversation and talk about these things without wanting to rip off the head of the person that you're talking to, because you're talking about them in and that's what Rod Serling knew when he was doing the Twilight Zone, and Gene Roddenberry knew about Star Trek. Like, yeah, we can't talk about these issues because of standards and practices on TV now, but if you put them in a sci-fi show, no, that's not happening on Earth. That's science fiction. And Alien Earth has presented a lot of really compelling ideas. It's great TV. Now, if people don't love it as an Alien sequel, I understand that, but it's thoughtful, well-made science fiction. And for that alone, kudos.
But here's where it really, I think, breaks the plane, in the sense that I agree with everything you said, but then it also gives the giddy geek boy kind of itch to it as well, when the alien gets loose and just literally starts ripping through soldiers and like decapitating and dismembering all these people over. So it's got a little something for everybody in it.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, come on, those monsters. Hell yeah.
Oh, practical costumes.
That eye creature, someone's going to wind up with that thing in its head.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go on a limb and say that probably wasn't a practical effect, but yes.
No. Yeah.
So a great mixture of the visual. Anyway, I couldn't be more happy for them, guys. Question is for you. What do you think about this? The new Alien franchise is the #1 streaming show in the world. And again, I just didn't really think that many people, I mean, we were interested in it. I didn't think that many other people were. Are you surprised by it? What did you take away from it? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and leave your thoughts there. All right, guys, listen, we still have a couple of other topics we got to talk about, including, it seems official now, Marvel has pulled the plug on their U.S. production. They are up and pulling out of Atlanta and moved over to the UK for their production. What kind of ramifications does that have? Also, Superman made the odd decision to release on digital already. James Gunn explains why they did it earlier than they planned. Oh, and by the way, it's the #1 movie on digital right now in the world. And also, Ian McKellen himself has gotten on stage at a recent convention and announced that Gandalf and Frodo are both coming back for the upcoming Andy Serkis directed Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. We're going to talk about those things and a few things more, but before we do, we're going to take a quick second and thank the sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at PrizePicks. Guys, we want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. What a great time to be a sports fan. Basketball playoffs are on. Hockey playoffs are on. It is the perfect time to jump into the action with PrizePicks, the easiest and most fun way to turn your sports knowledge into real winnings. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made really simple. Just pick more or less on a few player projections, like points, assists, goals, and you can win up to 2,000 times your money. For example, this week, I've got Jalen Brunson for more than 24.5 points, or Jason Tatum for more than 6.5 rebounds. I love how fast and easy it is to lock in a lineup in just under a minute. Plus, they've got a couple of weekly features, like, for example, Flex Friday. If your lineup doesn't win, you get your net losses back in promo funds. And every Tuesday, check out Taco Tuesday for discounted player projections up to 25% off. So download the app today and use the code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CAMPEA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks. Run your game. And thank you to our friends at PrizePicks for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show podcast. All right, guys. That down. Let's move on to this, shall we? You know, a number of years ago, it became kind of big headline news that Marvel started moving all their production out to Atlanta. And, you know, at the end of every Marvel movie would be that big Georgia peach saying, you know, made in Georgia. At the end of all their shows, of their Disney Plus shows, made in Georgia, all that kind of stuff, right? Well, very quietly, but very definitively, Marvel has been moving their production out of Georgia and now moving it over to the UK. And it's causing some major repercussions for the folks in Georgia. The New York Post writing, Marvel leaves Georgia to film superhero movies in the UK, gutting state's movie industry. One person there saying, you feel like a jilted lover. I'm going to read a bunch of this because it's quite interesting. It says this, Marvel Studios has shifted most of its production out of Georgia in favor of the United Kingdom, a move that has gutted the Peach State's film industry, wiping out nearly half of its spending and leaving a once bustling sound stages largely empty. The Disney-owned studio behind Spider-Man: Homecoming and She-Hulk: Attorney at Law filmed nearly 24 projects in Atlanta over the past decade. But starting with this summer's Fantastic Four First Steps, Marvel is shifting its superhero slate, including the 2 new Avengers films and the next Spider-Man film, to facilities outside of London. There's a quick peek of Tom Holland in his Spider-Man outfit. While major studios, including Disney, Netflix, and Warner Brothers Discovery, threatened boycotts over Georgia's 2019 abortion law, with some smaller productions leaving in protest, Marvel's current exodus in the UK is driven purely by economics. Rising labor costs in Georgia tip the scales. In the UK, crews are paid less and studios aren't saddled with having to pay their health insurance expenses, making it cheaper to shoot overseas because the UK, like Canada, has nationalized healthcare. Learn something, US. Anyway, the results has been devastating. Georgia's film and TV spending has plunged. Get this. Georgia's film and TV spending has plunged nearly 50% in just 3 years. With just 245 projects filmed in the fiscal year ending June 2025, down from 412 in 2022. Now, somebody in the industry, you feel like a jilted lover, Janie Golson, 62, a script supervisor who once made $200,000 a year working on Marvel sets, told the Journal. She hasn't had steady work since February 2024 and has borrowed from her retirement fund to cover bills. In the Wall Street Journal, they talk about this same person, Rob, and she was talking about how for a couple of years, she was absolutely overbooked. Like she was turning down projects. And now she can't fill her schedule. Now, look, at the risk of sounding insensitive, and I do not mean to, Remember, Georgia and Atlanta only became like that
Right.
because they took the jobs from somebody else.
Yeah.
Remember, it was like during that big push when Georgia increased their tax incentives and did all kinds of stuff and started building all these facilities. They got all that production because they took it from other people. So like other people were left short on employment or whatever because Georgia got the jobs. And now Georgia is feeling that same pinch. I'm not saying that makes it okay at all. It's devastating whenever you hear stuff about that. But, you know, in the UK, they have nationalized health insurance. So the studios don't have to pay for everybody's health insurance on their stuff. Also, it's cheaper to get it done over there. Both licenses, studio constructions, set requirements, all that stuff, and crew is all less expensive. Now, I've seen a lot of people get angry about this, and I get it. I do. But there is a little bit of an inherent hypocrisy in getting angry about it. Because when you and I shop at Walmart or Target, instead of the local brick and mortar, mom and pop, locally owned boutique shops, well, what are those? Oh, you see, maybe some of you don't know what they are because Walmart and Target put them out of business. But that happened because when you and I shop at Walmart and Target, we're doing it because we can get it cheaper there. So that's fine for us. Like, hey, I'm saving money. But by not supporting these local businesses, I might be putting them out of business by going to these Walmart things because they have lower costs. But we're the consumer. We go for what's cheaper. So we think it's okay for us to go to what's cheaper. It's good for us, but not good for other people. Again, I'm not defending Marvel taking their production out of country. I'm just saying it's kind of understandable, and it's a little bit hypocritical of us who do the exact same things in our own lives when somebody big like Marvel says, hey, we can make these movies for $18 million cheaper if we shoot it over there instead of here. Again, it sucks. I'm not denying that it sucks and it's terrible, but I am very happy for all the industry people and crew members and all that kind of stuff who are in the UK that are going to get a lot more work now. So I'm very happy for them, but it sucks for people in Georgia and stuff like that. By the way, they still had over 200 productions in Georgia. Yeah. They just don't have nearly as much. Rob, this is a major shift, just as much as it was a major shift when Marvel started moving all their stuff to Georgia and Atlanta. It's a big thing. Do you see somewhere down? Do you think this is a more permanent thing? Do you see Marvel maybe bring their production back to the US? I don't know. How do you see this? And how big of a deal is this?
Well, I think it's a big deal. I mean, I think it's when we're seeing our industry exported to foreign countries, you know, the whole, that's not a good thing. But, you know, we in this country, we're a country of abundance, but we've priced ourselves out of competitiveness. And look at LA. Everyone has their hand out when you're trying to make a production. It is very difficult to make product in LA because it's so expensive. And overall, what ends up happening is it's not just the movies themselves, it's the surrounding economies. The thing about Atlanta and where they're really going to feel it is all the people that make money on it. They go out to dinner on the weekends. You know, it's all the other businesses that benefit from all the money that Hollywood's pouring into that city. So, you know, that's a real bummer. I mean, it's a real bummer. I feel sorry for the people in Atlanta, but Marvel, with their exorbitant costs, they've got to cut costs too. I mean, the fact that their movies are not guaranteed to gross $1 billion anymore. When was the last time they made a movie? I mean, even Superman's going to cross 600 million this week. When was the last time a Marvel movie? I mean, you had Deadpool and Wolverine and Spider-Man No Way Home, but after that,
Guardians 3.
Yeah, Guardians 3, and I guess in the Multiverse of Madness as well. But the last three, Captain America, Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four. I mean, it's not a guarantee to make $500 million. They have to cut costs. They have to. And it's a bummer. I mean, but Atlanta, you know, there's still work to be had there, and maybe not as much work. I wish we had that much production going on here in LA.
Yeah, and by the way, correct me if I'm wrong on this, guys, but I believe one of the craziest stories I read about how production's gone overseas. There's even one or two, I can't remember which ones. And guys, again, in the live chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's one or two really popular game shows that they literally fly their contestants overseas because it's cheaper for them to make the game show in another country and fly all the contestants over and back than just shooting in the US. It's kind of crazy about that. And I just can't remember which game shows those are, but if anybody in the live chat remembers what they are, put it in there. And, you know, there was this article that came out a while ago that showed, listen, for every $1 in incentives that a state offers in tax rebates and tax incentives, I believe they said, without hyperbole, they said the state makes $4 in return from revenue generated for the industry and all that kind of stuff, and tax revenue, what have you. So I think maybe states are going to have to relook at ponying up more money for those tax incentives.
There's some good, I mean, Illinois has good tax incentives. Iowa just implemented tax incentives. So, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Now, when we see your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man down in Brooklyn or in Queens, that's might be Glasgow, or it might be Westchester.
Well, it truly is Glasgow now in Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, that's right.
They've redressed the town.
Or it might be London you're actually looking at and not Queens. Whatever you think about that, and at the end of the day, I think most consumers won't care. They just want to see a good movie. But whatever you think about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Couple of interesting things happening here as we move into the tail end now of the theatrical lifespan of James Gunn's first DCU movie, Superman. Number one, it looks like it is going to do what I thought maybe it wouldn't, which is cross $600 million. It's already past the 595. It's only got like $4.8 more million to go, and it's going to cross the $600 million mark. Something I didn't know if it could do or not, but congratulations for them on that. But also, you guys might remember that they debuted, I believe, on Friday on digital, where you could pay the ridiculous, unreasonable price of $25 to rent it, or a pittance $5 more, $30 to buy it. I remember when you could buy a movie on Blu-ray for $19 and they had to make a package and physical discs and ship it. Now it's just a digital download, but it's $30 anyway. But according to this report in Screen Rant, James Gunn's, it says 588 million. It's actually 595 million now. Superhero movie revamping the DC universes reaches the top of the digital charts. They said the following. Superman has flown onto screens everywhere, releasing on VOD on August 15th, barely a month after hitting theaters. The film stars David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan, and does pretty well. It follows on an early career Superman, all that kind of stuff, and it came out number one on iTunes and all that kind of nonsense. Now, what's interesting in this story, Rob, is that James Gunn was asked, why did you put this thing out so soon? I mean, it's still number 6 at the box office after 6 weeks in theaters. Why'd you put it out so soon? And what James Gunn explained was, listen, we wanted to have it come out right before Peacemaker Season 2 comes out. And he said, for things beyond my control, the release of Peacemaker on HBO Max got moved up a month. And he didn't say who made that decision or why or whatever when it did. But James Gunn explained our original plan was for Peacemaker Season 2 to come out a month later and Superman to come out on digital a month later to coincide with it. But for forces beyond my control, HBO had to move it a month earlier. So we moved the release of this a month earlier. He goes, it wasn't the original plan. It's not what we, architected out to do. It's not what we wanted to do initially, but it is what we were left with. And he said, it was important to me that everybody had a chance to watch it at home before Peacemaker came out. So there was that. But at any rate, Rob, what's the bigger thing to you? Superman looks like it is crossing $600 million. Superman being the number one digital movie in the world right now. Or James Gunn explaining, we didn't actually want to put it out this early, but we kind of had to due to scheduling. Do you think maybe they should have said, well, who cares about Peacemaker coming out. Let's just hold off on Superman coming out on later. I don't know. How would you have navigated that?
Well, I mean, look, if they change the dates, they change the dates. I mean, and it's not like Superman's doing badly. I mean, it's still making $1 million a day in theaters. I know it came out here domestically, but I don't think it's come out foreign yet. But they're making money. It's just they started a revenue stream a little early. You know, if Peacemaker is as tied to Superman as James Gunn says it is, which I believe it is, it's going to just feed into it, and people are going to want to get it. And there's a lot of people, John, that aren't going to the movies anymore for whatever reason. And the families that didn't turn out, you know, they spend $30, but if you got 3 kids, you know, and you get all that great digital content, there's an hour-long documentary in the making of Superman. There's a lot of featurettes. There's a lot of really great stuff I think that you also get for that money. So, hey, I think it's a win-win for everybody. I mean, sure, would they have made $700 million? I don't think so. But on VOD at $30 a pop or $25 a pop for the next couple weeks, they could be eating good. You know, that movie, depending on how much they sell.
I agree, but here's my thing about that. They also would have made that money if they put it out a month later.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like, see, that's the thing. It's not like I don't think I've seen any data that suggests the home market would have made more sales on the home market if they release it earlier than if they release it later. Like a good example of that was Thunderbolts, right? Thunderbolts came out 100 days after it was in theaters,
I mean,
and it shot to the top of the charts right away.
I totally agree. I don't know why you put it in at least 45 days.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I wouldn't have pulled it out. You're still making money. I mean, if you're making money, you're making money. But if James Gunn's like, well, you know, it really ties into Peacemaker. Look, even if they didn't put it out and they just left it in theaters, then Peacemaker, who people want to know what's going on. Hey, wait a minute. Who are all these people? Well, when Superman comes out on digital a month later, or it might have gotten people to go back to the theaters. I think anytime if you're making $1 million a day, you don't pull your movie out of a theater.
Yeah, it's now once we see Peacemaker, maybe we'll go, oh, that's why they want as many people as possible to see Superman. Look, you know me, I hate a cinematic universe that creates homework.
Yeah.
What I don't mind, and there's some people going to disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I don't necessarily think I'm 100% right on this. I don't mind you needing to do homework in watching a movie in order to watch a show.
Sure.
I absolutely don't think you should make it required homework to watch a show in order to watch a movie. I think it's fine one way. I don't think it's fine the other. And maybe when we watch Peacemaker season 2, we go, oh, okay, this is why they wanted as many people to be able to see Superman before this show came out. I mean, I don't know. Because otherwise, Rob, if I don't get that strong feeling, when I watch Peacemaker, this coming week, if I don't get that strong feeling of, oh yeah, you definitely wanted people to have seen Superman first, I'm going to think they made a mistake, and they should have, even though Peacemaker got moved up, they should have just kept Superman's digital release a month later, because they're leaving money on the table.
I agree.
So it'll be interesting to see how they kind of work this out. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, Superman's the #1 VOD movie in the world right now. It looks like it's crossing 600 million. James Gunn says, yeah, the plan was to put it out on VOD a month later, but they really thought it was important to coincide it with the release of Peacemaker, and that got moved up. Whatever you think is the biggest deal there, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You shall not pass. Iconic, legendary, one of the top 5 maybe lines in movie history, as far as I'm concerned. An absolute gem, of course, spoken by Gandalf. Ian McKellen was recently doing with a bunch of the cast from the Lord of the Rings films, was recently at a big fan convention. Now, you guys may know that Gollum himself is directing the upcoming Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. Andy Serkis is directing it, and Peter Jackson and his team are deeply, this isn't one of these situations where it's in name only. Peter Jackson and his team are deeply entrenched in writing and producing this thing. They are deeply involved with it. And of course, Andy Serkis functioned as a second unit director for Peter Jackson a number of times. We've known that this movie was coming, and it's going to be set prior to the events of Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. What we didn't know, other than Gollum, was who's going to be in it. Well, at this fan event, Ian McKellen got up on stage and basically said this. He said, you know, I've got a couple of secrets about this upcoming Gollum movie. First of all, he said, there's a character named Frodo in it. And the crowd goes wild. But then he says, and by the way, there's also a character named Gandalf in it, to which the audience then lost their minds. And he said, that's all I'm going to say. I don't even know if he was supposed to say that. Now, let me put this out there first so we've got the bases covered. What Ian McKellen did not specifically say was that we were going to get, who is the original actor who played Frodo again?
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood. He did not specifically say Elijah Wood is coming back to play Frodo, nor did he specifically say, I am coming back to play Gandalf. But I think it's pretty clear that's what he was saying. Again, I just want to cover our bases to acknowledge that he didn't specifically say that, okay? So it's possible. But I think it's pretty clear. What he was saying is, I'm coming back to play Gandalf. This is a huge deal, I think. I think this is a massive deal, not just for nostalgia's sake, but granted, Lord of the Rings is now an old series of movies.
Still the number one trilogy.
Well, there's only one return, and it's of the Jedi, not of the King. And that's a Clerks 2 line. But that aside, it is so weird to think of Lord of the Rings as being these, as Spider-Man would say, really old movie. But they're old movies now. But to actually have Ian McKellen on screen as Gandalf, I think is going to be a huge bump for this movie. Like a huge bump. And I think for a lot of even Rings fans who are a little bit apprehensive about, after Rings of Power, by the way, season 2 of Rings of Power was much better than the terrible season 1. Or after the Hobbit films, which I don't think are as bad as people. I think if you go back and revisit them, they're not as bad as people. They're just nowhere near as good as the original trilogy. But I think for a lot of those Rings fans who have been maybe a little dismayed by the Rings material we've gotten in the recent decade, I even think for a lot of those people to see Elijah Wood returns, but even more importantly in this context, Ian McKellen as Gandalf returning, I think that's going to go a long way to build what I will call a goodwill bridge to get more people on board and more excited about it. Listen, I've already been looking forward to this. I think Andy Serkis is a really solid director. I think I'm not big on prequel stuff, to be honest with you, but I think there's stuff to explore here. I've already been on board with it. Hearing that Wood and specifically Ian McKellen are back as Gandalf just raised my anticipation level a lot. Anyway, Rob, you saw the Ian McKellen footage. What's your takeaway from it? Does it move the needle? Who is this important for? What do you think?
Well, again, from the very beginning, this is a cash grab. Let's make no mistake. And I'm
but my contention is every movie ever made in history is a cash grab.
Right, but I mean, exploiting an IP. This is not. It is in the books. The Hunt for Gollum is part of the original Lord of the Rings. So I mean, it's not very fleshed out, so they're going to have to come up with a storyline, which could be very interesting. You got Philippa, Fran, and Peter coming back to write it, and that excites me, because they truly love the material and they think they have a story, and I'm sure they'll probably expand it into 3 movies. It wouldn't surprise me, but it could be interesting because that period of time, you're going to tell a story that's set in Middle Earth about the rise of the Dark Lord, the power of Sauron, reawakening, and what does that do? What does that do to Middle Earth? And I think that there's a lot of story that can be told there with clever screenwriters. And I think that I'm fascinated only because you have the band has been brought back together. Andy Serkis, Philippa Fran, and Peter. And you could dare say, at least with The Hobbit as well, that they were the core team. And you've got Gollum coming back. You've got Andy Serkis directing, and he became a great director. He's in his own right. He made Venom 2. People forget. So in terms of motion capture, they worked together on King Kong, everything he's learned about bringing that character back to life. If nothing else, I can't wait to see his performance. Andy Serkis.
Because what have we seen him do motion capture wise since he did Caesar? Because his performance as Caesar, I'm straight up, I thought that was Oscar worthy.
He did Snoke.
Oh, that's right. He was Snoke.
He was Snoke.
Not much to do though.
No,
sitting in a chair.
But yeah, and he also, he was going to he directed the animated Animal Farm, George Orwell's Animal Farm, that was an Annecy that had its world premiere at the Animation Film Festival in France a couple months ago. He was going to do that motion capture, and then they decided not to. They made it a traditionally animated film. But I'm looking forward to it. Bring it on. Fingers crossed. I want it to be good.
Yeah. I think with what they're going to really have to do when they start a media push for this and they start the early stages of the marketing, I think they need to lean very heavy into Philippa and Peter Jackson's involvement in it. They have to really lean into that. They have to basically call this, like, all due respect to Andy Serkis, they've got to refer to this as a Peter Jackson film. I think that's what you have to do in your marketing. Brought to you by Peter Jackson.
Yeah, from producer Peter Jackson. From Academy Award winner.
Peter Jackson. They got to lean into that heavily. Again, all due respect to Andy Serkis. And then they really need to lean into Ian McKellen as Gandalf. I think if they do those things, this thing has got a real chance. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Ian McKellen has just confirmed that Gandalf and Frodo are returning to the world of Middle-earth in The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. Again, the little asterisk, he didn't specifically say he was going to play him, but I think it made it pretty clear he was. But anyway, however you guys think about this, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With all that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. What we do is we, of course, ask you guys to send in tip questions, and you guys have. So we're going to get to that now. But before we do, we're going to bid good day to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. He's off to give Star Trek Strange New Worlds a proper chance. Rob, great job as always. We will talk to you again tomorrow, my friend.
A great day, John. A great day.
All right. With that down, guys, let's get over to your questions, shall we, Jonathan? What we got up first?
We got, first off, an anonymous tip, $20. So thank you for that.
Thank you, man.
Then we got Steve Drunksky, Peacemaker cameo hint. What characters in DC are really, really, really big in size? Atom Smasher is 60 feet tall, but they are larger. Love what you all do. Bring on the so he's going for the literal. Physical, literal.
The literal. Yeah. No, I don't think so. Like when you're talking about this, he ended Peacemaker season 1 with the Justice League showing up. Giant Man or whatever isn't going to move the needle for people. So, I mean, I can understand why. Like, hey, maybe he's going on the literal, but I don't think he is. I think he's talking, figuratively a huge cameo. So we'll see who that's going to be. All right, what's next?
We got the McWalker. Glad you're enjoying the new Campea camper. Help me decide what would be, what would be awesome for the Alien versus Predator universe. A live action version, true to the original Dark Horse comics, epic but costly, or a seasonal streaming animated series, cheaper but risk repetition.
And won't have as big viewership numbers. I think, listen, they are clearly building up to a live action Alien versus Predator. And by the way, I don't think they need to stick to the Dark Horse comic by any stretch. I really don't. I trust the guys who are running Alien and the guy running Predator right now. They're doing great work and great job. So I think what is clear, they're doing something that I didn't think they were at first, but they are now, it's clear they're building up to Alien versus Predator again. And don't do it animated because you're going to lose out. It's just not going to have the same audience, generally speaking. But John, what about K-pop Demon Hunter? That's a once in a generation kind of phenom. But I think they're clearly going to building this up for a live action thing. And I think that's the way they're going to go with it.
Also, thank you, Cali Kid. That this is 10 gifts membership he's doing now.
Oh, he sent in 5
But he did
earlier.
5, or so 15 altogether. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cali Kid. That's incredibly generous of you, man. That's awesome. All right, what's next?
Then we got Dank Tank 98. Have you heard of the new AI enhanced version of The Wizard of Oz that'll be shown at the Sphere in Las Vegas? Some people feel the use of AI to enhance completely change the film's visuals to fit the Sphere's screen is disrespectful to the original film.
Well, they're stupid. They're stupid. It's not disrespectful to anything. Changing, like if they changed the story, if they altered Dorothy's lines, but they're creating a unique viewing experience. And I'll tell you what, I am absolutely going to go 100%. And I've seen the videos of what they've done, the artistry and the work that's gone into making that what it's going to be. They're making a unique and beautiful moving experience. So much so that my manager, my business guy, he's flying in from Georgia. He's going to fly in from Georgia so we can go and watch this thing in the Sphere. I think it looks absolutely breathtaking.
I think they're doing something similar at Cosm as well, but the Sphere would be obviously a next level. I mean, think of it from this way. Do you think that the filmmakers, and I'm not sure if it was shot in 38, it was released in 39, that if you showed them their creation at the Sphere, I mean, they'd pass out. They'd be like, oh my God, what am I looking at?
Do you think they'll go, no, I don't like this?
They would be like, this is incredible. We're going to make billions.
You know what that reminds me of? Is the people who complained when they start colorizing movies.
Yeah.
No, I prefer seeing the original black and white, but I like the fact that some of these original black and white films I have the option to watch in color. Or the people who complain when they up-res movies. No, this thing was shot in 320. It should stay in 320. Like, look, nobody is sneaking into people's homes and stealing their copies of Wizard of Oz and replacing them with the new version. This is a unique experience they're doing at this thing. And people are flocking. Man, they're selling out shows already, and this thing hasn't even started. I cannot wait to watch this.
So I can't. It just moved. But someone's like, "Well, they removed film grain. And it's disrespectful. It's being adapted for the Sphere. If you had film grain on the Sphere with all of that other stuff, and you're blowing that up, it's going to look ridiculous."
Yeah,
of course
listen.
it is.
The original filmmakers did not put in film grain as a creative choice.
And the film grain's
that
still
was
there when
just
you watch
what
it
they had
at
to
home.
deal with. If you think the filmmakers, if they had a choice when they made Wizard of Oz to have film grain or no film grain, they would have had no film grain.
This is not permanent, and it's for the Sphere. It's going to be distinct.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of laugh when people clutch their pearls over literally something that doesn't matter. Again, if they were sneaking into your house and taking your copy of Wizard of Oz and replacing with something else, okay, I could see you getting upset. But them putting on a special presentation for people who are excited to go and experience it, and you pissing on it for what? Like, how sad is your life if you just got to piss on what other people are going to enjoy? I mean, that has literally zero effect on you.
It doesn't smack the VHS out of your
This
hand.
is not disrespectful in the least. In the least. Anybody who tries to paint it as such is just grasping at straws.
Straws,
Anyway,
I tell
all right,
you.
what's
straws.
next?
We got the McWhopper. Also want to drop this in the category for best guest for James Gunn's really big Peacemaker cameo. The nominees are Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
Oh my.
That'd be interesting. Crypto the dog, Jason. See, and I had even thought, is it someone we saw from the movie? Jason Momoa as Lobo. That'd be big. Henry Cavill as Clark Kent reporting.
Well, no, because they've already got Clark Kent, right? So you can't do that. I mean, and I don't just seeing the big cameo being somebody who was already in Superman, because we have several cameos from Superman already. We know Hawkgirl, Maxwell Lord, Green Lantern. I think Jimmy Olsen is going to be making an appearance. I mean, so I don't really see that. Now, Jason Momoa as either Aquaman or Lobo would make sense because he was one of the big cameos at the end of season 1. So that's there, or somebody completely outside of it. But I don't think it's just going to be somebody from Superman because we've already got people from Superman there. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Garden Variety has a 3-parter here. Just learned that there was a Supreme Court case of Disney and Warner versus Sony in '83. After a long years-long path through the lower courts and appeals to make VCR tapes illegal, saying that watching movies at home would destroy the movie industry. They said the same thing about television. Of course, Sony won, but not due to their own testimony. A ringer testified who had previously saved another entertainment industry from in front of Congress, Mr. Rogers. Say the VCR put power in the hands of children to see shows when they wanted. But Mr. Rogers also saved another movie industry, as at the time, without home video, porn could only be watched by braving dark, sleazy theaters, sitting next to others. So, thank you, Mr. Rogers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, I remember when every time a new technology comes out, everybody declares it's the death of movies. When when I go back and read it, I this was a little before my time, but you can go read about all this stuff. When audio cassettes came out, people could literally hit record on their boom boxes and record their favorite song playing on the radio. People said that's going to end the music industry. It didn't. When Napster became a thing, people said it's going to end the music industry. It didn't. When VHS came out, people said this is going to kill both the television and the movie industry. It didn't. When DVDs came out, particularly when recordable DVDs came out, again, everybody said this is going to kill the movie and television industry. It didn't. Then when 4K came out, it's like, no, people can watch and blah, blah, blah. And this is going to kill both the movie and the television industry. It didn't. And then when streaming came out, people said, this is going to kill the movie and television industry. It didn't. Each one of those things had an impact. Absolutely. And each one of those things help dictate the course of the evolution of the medium. 100% for sure, as will whatever the next big technological advance will be. I don't know what's going to be, but something else will come along. And I would say, like today, I mean, the movie industry is facing a lot of struggles, but I would also contend that streaming ain't the major reason for movie theater struggles any more than Blu-ray or DVD, recordable medium, VHS tapes, or Napster was. So it's always going to be part of it, but that was one of the key things for sure. That was one of the key historical moments. All right, what's next?
Big Cookie says, come on, you guys, James Gunn is a jokester and a writer. A really, really, really big cameo equals size. My bet is on something physically huge. For Peacemaker Season 2, preparing myself for a letdown regarding the cameo, but I will love the season regardless.
James Gunn can be a jokester, but he knows what will and won't piss off an audience.
He's not going to be like, I said big.
Yeah, technically, guys, I said this. Yeah, he's not doing that. It's, again, especially after the template he set with season 1 of Peacemaker, where literally the Flash and Aquaman cameoed. Technically, so did Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman, but those were just silhouettes. So he's not going to say something that he knows is just ultimately going to piss off the audience. He's not going to do that. All right, what's next?
We got Blake. I dismissed Cavill as Batman the first time I heard it mentioned, but the more I think about it, the more it kind of feels awesome. Release one shot of that jawline and the cowl, and even the Snyder Bros might say, to hell with the DCEU, gimme, gimme, gimme.
Listen, I'm not saying that my boy Henry is the only guy who can play Batman. Not at all. I think there are several really strong candidates who could play Batman, but I'm all for Henry Cavill playing Batman. I really am. It's definitely an antithesis enough away from his former Superman character. But take all that, forget that Henry Cavill was associated with the DC properties before. Forget that part. Just throw that out of your mind. As an actor, Henry Cavill would make a great Batman. He's got the jawline. He could be a great Bruce Wayne. He can be a great Batman. He's got the physicality. He's got the physique. He's got clearly the acting chops. I mean, he would be great. Again, I'm not saying he's the only guy. I'm not saying it's got to be Henry Cavill by any stretch. And I'm not even saying it's likely that he will be. I don't think it is likely. But I think it would be a perfectly good choice if they did. I would love to see it. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Dak Chats. You like the originals? Did you watch the Vampire Diaries? And I'm loving the world building and story lines in Strange New Worlds. But I'm struggling to get through season 1 dialogue and just excited to see Paul Wesley, Kirk Stefan, at this point.
You know, it's funny. Season 1 of Strange New Worlds, this is a statistical fact, is the highest critically rated Star Trek thing of any era. which is really kind of weird. I loved season 1. I thought season 1 was absolutely fantastic. I can't even remember what the question was.
Let me bring it up again. It was it was just more of a statement. It said, "Did you watch the Vampire Diaries?" Since you like,
I watched a little bit of it because my wife was watching it at the time, but I kind of fell off of it. But then I gave that new show the original. I thought the originals was a much better show than Vampire Diaries. So I never watched all the Vampire Diaries, but I did watch all the originals. Actually, Elijah, the character in the original Elijah, was one of my favorite characters on television. I thought he was a great character. All right, what's next?
we got Dookie Shoes. Hola, mi amigos. Rewatched Chronicle, and that movie still holds up for me. Do you think we'll ever get a sequel?
No.
Read the script, Martyr, years ago, and quite dug it. I don't know if we'll get that movie, but a follow-up of some sorts would be awesome, in my opinion.
No, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And it's really too bad. I love Chronicle. And of course, that had, Michael B. Jordan before he was the worldwide A-lister that he is now. It had, who's the guy who played Harry in The Amazing Spider-Man?
Right.
There's a D in there. I forget the actor's name. Anyway, he's great, and his career has kind of sputtered. Dane DeHaan. Can I just say, Dane DeHaan is in a club with a guy like Taylor Kitsch, where Dane DeHaan is a freaking remarkable actor. He is a remarkable actor, but he's just been put in too many things that didn't succeed enough, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he had this one movie where he was given the lead, Valerian, in the City of a Thousand Planets. Terrible movie, just terrible. And some other things, but Dane DeHaan is fantastic. He's a fantastic actor, and he should be in more stuff. Anyway, so you had Michael B. Jordan, Dane DeHaan. It's a great movie, but you can find the stories about how it all fell apart behind the scenes with them trying to get another one made. The original writer wanted to do one thing, which was a great idea, but then the studio wanted to do something totally different that was really stupid, and nothing ever came together. And the reality is the original Chronicle never made $700 million. It made a very, very modest amount of money at the box office, which is too bad. So I always would have loved to have seen another one, but I don't think we're ever going to get one. Particularly not a direct sequel with any of the original cast again. All right, what's next?
We got Raymond, who says, "Rest in peace to Terrence Stamp from the Superman franchise, the Limey, The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, Son of Jor-El, Kneel Before Zod."
Yeah, man, it's hard to think of living in a world that he's not around. I mean, again, just him, Jeremy Irons, James Earl Jones. There's this real exclusive club of like the best voices ever, and he's in that club. He absolutely is. All right, what's next?
We got, let's see. Well, yeah, I'm not sure which podcast I think he meant to recommend a podcast, but then didn't say it. But please listen to the 6 Minutes podcast. Oh, 6 Minutes podcast. That's what it's called. Available anywhere. Great for long drives. I really think you'll like it in the van driving to the next movie meetup. Please come to New York soon. I think New York's probably on your list of cities to visit.
Well, I know the state of New York is definitely on our list because we're 100% hitting Buffalo.
Yeah.
100% we're going to hit Buffalo. I don't know about New York City, but we'll see. I don't know that a 6 minute podcast will do for the drives that I have. You know what I was able to do on my drive up to Phoenix and back? Get through the rest of Project Hail Mary.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that's going to be an awesome movie. Now, for those of you who have already read Project Hail Mary, I and Rob have entered into a bet. Now, I won't give any details away, but for those of you who know the book, you'll get what I mean. I am betting that they are going to change the end of the book. Because you guys who know the book, it ends with a certain thing and a certain person in a certain context. And I believe they're going to change that to something else. Rob thinks they're going to keep it the way it ends. I think they're going to change the way it ends in the movie. Who knows? Maybe we're both wrong, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
We got Daniel says, if you're planning on doing an Albuquerque meetup, either September 6th or 20th, I recommend Flick's Brew House because it's a nice restaurant, theater where they can craft their own beers, and they've been showing Batman Begins on the 6th and Dark Knight on the 20th.
Yeah, no, we've already got our date planned. It's
Yeah,
going to be on the
I think
11th, so we're not going to be
11th
making
as well.
those dates. All right, what's next?
We got Dildar, who says Channing Tatum has been cast in the latest Demon Slayer movie, and a lot of voice actors are upset because he's more than likely been paid way more than all of them and getting special treatment. I know it's for his daughter, but it is unfair for the voice actors, in my opinion. But we don't know what he got paid.
All right, my response to that is boo-hoo. Now, look, for those of you who've watched me for any period of time, I don't understand the appeal of putting big name actors as voice cast. Like, you're not seeing them on the screen or anything like that. I use properly trained voice actors, but nothing is unfair. Like, as Rob always points out, it's the movie business. You get what you negotiate. And listen, if the producers think we will get more attention on our project if we have somebody like a Channing Tatum doing the voice, and you're right, he will get more money because he will bring more to the project. Sorry, that's just the reality. I'm not saying he'll do a better voice performance, but if the producers think that having Channing Tatum in this cast will add to our visibility and add more to our notoriety, which unfortunately they're not wrong, then that makes him more valuable. Sorry, it just does. Because that just makes him more valuable than everybody else involved.
You have a face now for like the interview shows and stuff like that. So, he's going to go on the Tonight Show about it.
And if the producers feel that brings us a certain amount of value, then you're going to pay for that value. Now, again, remember, I'm the guy who says, what's the point in having celebrities doing voice work when you can, for a lot less expensive, get specifically trained voice actors to do it? That's my belief. But I get it. And that's the way it is. That's the business. And if you want to cry about it, cry about it. But you knew that was the business when you got into it. Like, that's the reality of the business. And listen, I remember once when I think I was still at AMC. And I was in charge of running movie news and running movie talk and all that kind of stuff. I was the head of our division. I was the head of our team. So I clearly had some influence in how much people got paid. Although, AMC gave me a limit of what I could spend on the operation. Understandably, they had every right to do that. And I remember one of our team members coming in and complaining to me. And listen, I don't fault them for this at all. I do not fault them for this. There is nothing wrong with asking for what you think you're worth. But somebody came into my office and complained that even they did just as many, were on camera just as much or almost as much as John Schnepp was, that they should be getting paid as much, if not more, than John Schnepp. And I remember it wasn't received well, but I remember trying to explain to the person, it's like, look, I think you're great, and I have no problem that you're asking, that you should ask for what you think you're worth. I have no problem with that. But I have X amount of money that I'm allowed to give out in salaries. And while I think you are great at what you do, the reality is John Schnepp right now is like the most valuable member to our team. He has the most credibility. He's the best as far as a commentator goes. And he has the tightest relationship with our audience. He brings more. Out of all of us as a team, he brought the most. And I'm like, I can't justify paying you as much as I pay him because he brings more value to the table than anybody at our team. And I can't pay you the same amount of pay. I just don't have the money for that. Because like, if I pay you what I pay Schnepp, I've got to give somebody else a pay cut. to make up for it. I only get so much money from AMC to pay salaries, and that's just the way it's got to be. And I know that you can look at that and say, well, that's unfair. Okay, but that's life, man. That's life. Hell, listen, I don't think Jeremy's going to have a problem with me saying this. So, because it had nothing to do with Jeremy's fault, but I remember when I brought Jeremy Johns in to work with us at AMC. And I remember, because Jeremy's remarkable. And I remember, in talking, Complex gave me the green light to pursue Jeremy Johns. They also, because I pitched the idea, let's bring him in. I think it's going to be great and blah, blah, blah. And I sat down, like me and Jeremy sat down, and I said, hey man, because listen, we were talking about him moving from Seattle to LA. It was a big thing we were asking him. Huge thing. So I said, give me your honest but realistic pitch of what would it take for us to bring you down here. And he did that. He gave me a number. He gave me some conditions about this is what it would make it worth it for me to leave Seattle and come down here to LA to do movie talk. And I remember I initially said, well, items B, C, and D you ain't ever going to get. He goes, all right, you can't blame me for asking. I said, nope, can't blame me for asking. But whatever. But at the end of the day, I had to greenlight, as the guy who was the head, I had to greenlight Jeremy getting paid more than me. But I didn't care. I was more interested in winning. And I knew Jeremy was going to bring, or at least I was gambling that Jeremy coming onto the team, because he's a unique talent, he's amazing, was going to bring X amount of value to what we were doing. And that meant I had to just understand that he was going to get paid more than me. And I was the guy running everything. I was the guy who built this place. But I was okay with that because I was more interested in the win than being the highest paid guy. Bringing that all back around full circle to the Channing Tatum thing. Listen, the producers have to not just look at this as a piece of art, but it's also a product that they need to make money on and sell. And if they think that Channing Tatum is going to bring more value, then boo-hoo if you think that's unfair. It's life, and it's the reality of the business. And I get, again, and I'm somebody who doesn't believe you should have celebrities as the voice performers, but I get it. I get it. Anyway. All right, what's next?
We got Roy Cal, who says, oh, by the way, I lost his name again, but he donated another 20 memberships.
Oh,
so like
thank you, man. That's incredible of you, dude.
35 altogether. Thank you. Roy says, hey, John, I'm a fan of Star Wars, Marvel, and DC, but I've been avoiding superhero movies for a while now. I avoided Deadpool 3, Superman, and F4. I wait to stream. Do you think there's a certain level of superhero fatigue? I do. P.S. Man of Steel is still my favorite Superman.
Nope, there's no such thing as superhero fatigue. There is mediocrity fatigue. It's not a coincidence that we're 20 years into comic book films becoming significant and dominant, and none of it started to waver in its popularity until their quality started to drop. Everybody thinks, no, that's just a pure coincidence. Pure coincidence. No, it's not. It's causality, as Vision would put it. It's causality. The overall quality of the product started to diminish. And as the overall quality started to diminish, it's not a coincidence that that's the exact same time we started to see interest diminish. Year after year after year, when comic book movies were putting out, for the most part, super high quality in their output, they just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every year, I mean, listen, go all the way back to my AMC days. Every year we had people saying, well, comic book movie fatigue setting in. No, it wasn't. Never did. Then the next year, comic book movie fatigue setting in. No, box office just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And it is not a coincidence. It's not some magical 1 in a billion needle in a haystack coincidences that at the exact same time that the overall quality of the product started to diminish, that's when interest started to diminish. It's not rocket science, guys. It's cause and effect. And of course, people are going to lose a little bit of interest when quality starts to drop. And listen, then when you put out something like Deadpool and Wolverine, you make $1.3 billion. And I also don't think it's a coincidence that Fantastic Four made more money than the previous 2 MCU movies did. And listen, it's going to take time, but I fully believe that if they keep putting out stuff that's of the quality level of like Superman, of Thunderbolts, of Fantastic Four, and stop putting out things, or at least put out less things of the lower quality of Captain America Brave New World or Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, or, you know, a bunch of the things in the DCEU, you're going to see the box office go back up again. It's going to take time like it did before, just like it took time for the decrease to happen. But again, if you believe in the 1 in a billion chance that it just happens to be some magical universal coincidence that the decline in interest in comic book movies happened at the exact same time as when the decline in the quality of those movies started happening, then you've got more magic belief than I do, because it's clearly not a coincidence. Anyway, what's next?
Right. And sorry, it was Cali Kid who did all the, because I forgot the name. Raymond has said a special screening of Superman will be held on the Jumbotron of the San Francisco Giants Oracle Park on September 5th.
Oh, that's awesome.
I hope it will be shown at other ballparks so families can enjoy this. Hey, John, any ballpark on the way of your camper van journey?
I don't think so, but one of the cities I know Anne really wants to hit up, because she recently went there for a work conference and fell in love with the city of Chicago. Like, she was there for only 3 days and she fell in love with that city. That's all she freaking talks about now. Chicago, Chicago, Chicago. I'm sure it didn't hurt that when she was there for the conference, Beyonce was also in town doing a show and she went to the Beyonce concert, but she just loves that town. So anyway, if I'm in Chicago, how do I not hit up Wrigley Field? Like, how do you not hit up Wrigley Field if you're in Chicago? So I'll probably at least do that. And I know when we go to Buffalo, I know there's no Major League Baseball team, but we're definitely going to go to a Bills game. 100% we're going to go to a Bills game. All right, what's next?
Okay, we got Jeremiah Strangelove. I heard from a friend of mine who works in exhibition that they have over $2.5 million in advanced sales for K-pop Demon Hunters. And while Netflix won't be reporting numbers, they're expecting it to be in the top 5 for the week. Some theaters have like 3 screens.
Oh, listen, Rob and I, before they even announced they were doing it, Rob and I said on this show, they would be idiots if they don't do a special sing-along release of K-pop Demon Hunters. It doesn't have to be big, wide release. It doesn't have to be 3,000 screens. But and we said, if you put out a sing-along version of K-pop Demon Hunters, even in limited run, guaranteed, sell out, sell out, sell. It'll sell out like crazy. And that's what they're doing. And I'm not shocked at all to hear about it. Not at all. 100%. All right, what's next?
Rosado says, I find this so interesting. If post-COVID era started in 2021, that means it's been 4.5 years. Only 10 movies made 1 billion plus in that time frame. Compare that to the same amount of pre-COVID 2015 to 2019. Saw 27 movies make 1 billion plus, 9 in 2019.
Yeah, it's listen, I think there was 9 in 2019 alone. Look, nobody likes to talk about it anymore. I don't like talking about it anymore. Everybody for years has been over it and talking about it. But the reality is that the effects and repercussion of the pandemic shutdown on the industry is still being felt today. We did this thing where the MPA, the motion formerly known as the MPAA, now they're just called the MPA, put out this thing that showed that between 2013, when Man of Steel came out, and today, 41% fewer people go to the movies than went back in 2013. 41%. Their like habits are very hard to break. And the reality is when the pandemic hit, people got in the habit of not going to the movies. And once you lose a habit, it's hard to get it back. And there are people that just didn't go to the movies anymore. There's still people who have not gone back to a movie theater since the pandemic. And then to make matters worse is once things started to recover a little bit, what happened?
Strikes.
Double strikes.
And they went longer than anyone
And they went
expected.
way longer than expected. The writers and the actors all went on strike. And that hurt it. Now you have these way shortened streaming windows. So people are like, oh, so I'm going to be able to watch this movie in like 3 weeks. Anyway, yeah, it's all had an impact. And it's going to take, this is why I get so frustrated with movie theaters when I see them doing things that are anti-consumer, because it's like the number one job, I think right now, of the industry has to be a single laser focused mission of the entire industry has to be enticing people back to the movie theaters. That should be your sole laser focus. And if anything you do contradicts that mission or hurts that mission, scrap it immediately. Like, I don't know, AMC, adding even more commercials before you start the movie. That is the antithesis of doing things to attract people back to the movies. So scrap that. It needs to be your number one mission. And the proof is exactly in the data you just gave. 1 year, $9 billion films. In 1 year. In the four since, it's not a coincidence. It's something that they really do need to correct. I believe it can be corrected. 100% I believe it can be. But it's going to take a concerted effort. Anyway. All right, what's next?
Anonymous for Albuquerque, may I suggest Regal Windrock? Just finished renovating and got brand new recliners. Really good projection too. Really great theater. And I believe by the numbers, the number one biggest, busiest theater in that market.
It will not be that theater. I believe, I need to verify the data, but I've had somebody pass along to me that the night that we're going to be in Albuquerque, which will be Thursday, September the 11th, there's a movie theater that is going to be screening Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. And that's going to be our theater. Now, again, I'm not sure the exact theater that it is. I don't know what the showtime is. We'll announce that later. But I don't think it's that theater you just mentioned. So we're going to be going to the theater in Albuquerque to watch a Lord of the Rings film. And I'm very excited about
Unless
it.
it's across chains. Maybe if it's not just in...
Yeah.
Yeah, but... then we got Ryan the Movie Guy. My birthday's on the 21st. I see on my feed you're uploading the perfect present with your documentary I've been dying to see. Just wait till you see the way it was shot, the way it was edited. Oh,
that's what really sets it apart. Is the editing.
It's not what everybody says in it. It's just how they look. Thank you very much. You're a huge inspiration to me. Hopefully one day you visit the UK. Also, Nobody 2 was awesome. Oh, Nobody 2 was awesome.
I had a great time with Nobody 2. It's not going to win any Oscars, but I had a great time with Nobody 2. Yeah, again, for those of you who weren't around there during the beginning of the show, on this Wednesday night, so in a couple of days, at 6 p.m. Los Angeles time, we are doing the YouTube live premiere of the documentary, our documentary, Movie Trailers, A Love Story. And it's going to be, again, premiering at 6 p.m. I'll be in the live chat chatting with everybody. So will Jonathan, the editor of the film. Robert Meyer Burnett, who's one of the associate producers on it and is in the film, is going to be in the live. We're all going to be in the live chat chatting it up. So I hope you guys will join us for that event on Wednesday night. All right, what's next?
All right, we got Vigo or No. I'm actually less thrilled with Frodo being in it. I'd be much more interested and excited if it was Aragorn Vigo instead. I mean, Aragorn was actually involved in that story at least. I'll reserve judgment, but Frodo doesn't move the needle for me. We don't know who all is in or not in.
Yeah, we have no idea at this point who is going to be in it and who isn't going to be in it.
The aging is going to be a major.
It will be a little bit more of a challenge because Elijah Wood doesn't look all that different today. Like, honestly, have you seen Elijah Wood lately? He doesn't look all that different. I mean, he's a little bit older, but he doesn't look all that different. Gandalf is already supposed to be 1,000 years old. So you're going to put Ian McKellen in the white makeup. But Viggo Mortensen, here, bring this up. This is Viggo Mortensen today. I forget how old Viggo is now. Maybe you can look that up for me,
Sure.
Jonathan. It will be difficult
He's 66.
He's 66 now. It will be, I think, let me say challenging. Okay. It will be challenging to have him as a younger Aragorn than we had in Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
They'd have to de-age him.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to do heavy digital de-aging, which will be a very long and now for 66, he looks awesome. He looks great. But can you pass him off as a younger Strider than he was 25 years ago? I don't know.
And it's
yeah. With Elijah Wood, I don't think it's going to be that hard. With Gandalf, Ian McKellen, he's supposed to be Gandalf the Grey. I mean, it's not that hard, but I think it'd be a little bit more challenging for Viggo. Not impossible. And I'll be lucky if I look half as good as Viggo does when I hit 66. But it does present more of a challenge. So I don't know if that having him is going to be practical. Maybe not, but it would be very challenging, I think. All right, what's next?
We got PG on Thursday. I watched a South Indian movie called Coolie at an Indian movie-only theater in Toronto, where instead of showing trailers, they showed a montage of glimpses of upcoming Indian movies. I think other theater chains should consider doing this.
Well, they'll never do that.
Yeah.
They'll never do that.
Because you'd have to have that professionally edited to make a montage that's compelling.
Yeah, and it's like every theater and every studio has specific films they want to promote and all that kind of stuff. And it's unfortunate. I mean, that's a cool experience. That sounds like a cool experience, but it's not something that the industry as a whole will ever do, unfortunately. I love the fact that there are theaters that do things like that and very, very specific to certain demographics. I think that's great. But I don't think you're going to see that practice in the larger theater chains. All right, what's next?
We got a couple more tips. Anonymous says, hey, John, is the Michael biopic going to be 2 parts?
Yes.
Or one? There was Gold Derby article saying it's going to be 1 film. They gave Fuqua more time to edit the film, but Ion, believe it or not, believe it. I think he means I don't believe it. No other news outlet said anything like this.
No, as far as I know, okay, it is definitively being 2 films. It is not going to be 1 film. The initial thought of it way back in its beginnings was that it was going to be 1 movie, but for a while now it's been determined and it is clear it is going to be 2 separate films, not 1. All right, what's next?
Okay, here's our last of the tips. Maxi UK says, my sister's in Alien Earth. She plays Nibs in the show. She is in other TV shows and films as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I can't remember the names. There's Boy Cavalier. I remember that character's name. I remember Wendy's characters. I don't remember any of the other characters' names. So I don't know which one Nibs is, but that's really cool. If you got somebody like a particularly relative, like a sibling in it, that's awesome. Congratulations.
All right.
I want to wrap up a little early, but let's take a couple of questions from our channel members before we do.
All right. Let's see. Where did I place the button? Here we are. Collins says, thanks again for the Phoenix meetup. It was great meeting both of you and fellow fans at the show in person. Apologies for keeping you so late, but thanks again for being generous with your time.
Okay, I think I recognize the icon, the picture. I think this was Collins.
Oh, well, that's very convenient.
Do you got it?
Yeah, right here.
Nope, my screen.
Oh, your screen. There we go.
I think that's Collins. If I'm remembering the right guy, he actually brought a copy of my Hulk film for me to autograph for him there, which was just awesome. I had such a great time. But now bring up the chat screen again, or the member. I think that's him.
Looks very similar.
Looks very similar. Maybe that was Collins.
Got the beard. I mean, If we were playing Guess Who, I'd say that.
Yeah,
was
I
him.
mean that's a tiny picture it's a tiny picture I'm trying to guess it from because it's only like this big, so I can't really tell for sure.
Right.
But the beard, the bald head, the glasses, I think that's Collins. Anyway, all right. What's next?
We got wrong one. What I switch off? Marco says, "Hey gang, just finished Shrinking season 2.
Oh,
Thought Ted McGinley did great acting in his role this season. Also during the last minute of the finale in the train station sequence, as it kept progressing, my wife was getting audibly more and more agitated, predicting what was going to happen. Great finale."
I feel like I feel like Apple Plus should be paying me for how much time I spend promoting Shrinking. It's guys, like, I don't know how else to tell you at this point. It is simply one of the best things on television. It's just that good. It is warm and uplifting and endearing and beautiful and utterly hilarious all at the same time. It will move you emotionally and move you to tears and laughter. It is absolutely one of the best things. Somebody's asking, is it better than Severance? They're very different shows. But if my back was against the wall and I had to say which show is better, Severance or Shrinking, I'll say Shrinking. And I love Severance. And they're very, very different shows. They're very, very different kinds of shows. But if I had to pick one to watch, I'm watching Shrinking. Like, that's how good I think Shrinking is. You guys got to get on it and give it a shot. Anyway. All right, what's next?
We got Carmel, who says, if Deadpool's in Doomsday, I need him to say to Doom, "You're a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude."
That would be a killer line. By the way, let me just throw this out there. Some people are out there and they've interpreted the way the Hollywood Reporter read it is Hollywood Reporter just confirmed that Ryan Reynolds is in Doomsday. It's like, that's not really what happened. Plus, Deadline, by the way, for those of you who missed it, Deadline has reported that he is not going to be in Doomsday. So you got kind of conflicting points out there. So don't believe anything at this point. Just don't believe anything. All right, what's next?
Alan says, hey, John and crew, hope your day is going great with the first 2 seasons out now, or episodes out now of Alien Earth. What do you think will be the way to go with it? Will Wayland Yutani take Prodigy over?
I don't think we're going to get any of that kind. I don't think listen, with the number of episodes that it has, which I believe, what is it, 8 or 10? I can't remember. I don't think they're going to have anything fundamentally globe shifting, like one company overtakes the other. I don't think that's happening this season. I think it's going to be more about where we leave off with the alien. So honestly, the beautiful thing about the first 2 episodes is it left me in a place that they really can go in any direction. So, and I'm not the type of guy who likes to try to come up with where I think they should go. I'm just really enjoying sitting back and watching where the journey takes us, because I thought the first 2 episodes were great.
All right.
All right. Last question of the day.
All right. We got, why do I keep doing that? We got Alan, happy Monday. Campea crew just finished Peacemaker season 1. It was fantastic. I may need to get HBO to watch season 2. I think so.
Oh, 100%.
You should get it anyway. It's a great streaming service.
Before Penguin came out, I thought Peacemaker season 1 was the best season of a superhero TV show. I really did. All due respect to everything else that's out there, particularly DC, the best DC TV show ever. All due respect to Smallville, all due respect to Arrow and the other shows that I love so much. But I thought season 1 of Peacemaker was simply the most entertaining DC show that there's ever been. Well, then Penguin came out and that beat that, but I cannot wait for season 2 of Peacemaker. I just absolutely cannot wait for it. All right, guys. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in the questions. Number 1, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. But number 2, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Of course, big thank you to Robert Meyer Burnett for being here, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico.
See you guys later.
My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.